Well, hello there. I didn't see you come in. Make yourself at home. Have a drink. While I give some attention to some underappreciated characters and storylines that I personally love. And I hope you grow to love as well. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Matt's Minis. Today we're reading Swamp Thing number 55. And I do have to apologize. I somehow got confused and forgot to do one of these last week. So I'm going to put out two this week, and not together in one episode, but just two separate episodes. So be on the lookout for that one after this one, after you listen to this one. But I apologize for that. I had a brain fart or something, and I thought I did it, and then I looked, and I was like, wait, I didn't do it. So my bad. But with that being said, let's get into the issue. We see the cover here, Swamp Thing 55. We got the Abby Arcane is on her knees in front of a homemade cross that is not actually like homemade, like she made it. It looks like it was growing out of the ground, and then she broke a branch off and made a cross out of it. So, and then we see there's a Gotham Times, I guess, and it says Swamp Monster Dead, Gotham City in ruins. So we're picking up right after Swamp Thing was killed, and I think there was one issue after that, and then this is the funeral of Swamp Thing. If you remember, there was an issue where Liz Tremaine was found Abby, and because of all this press, and she escaped. I don't remember the doctor's name. The doctor that was good before, but now he went crazy and berserk, and he was like a weird, backwoods, Unabomber type of guy or something, and he was holding her captive. So or Dr. Barclay, that was his name. And so Dr. Barclay had some Vietnam flashbacks and kidnapped her, and then she escaped. So when she saw Abby Arcane on the news, so he chased them, and then Abby realized, look, even though Swamp Thing's dead, he gave me a lot. Now I can kind of, be out on my own, and it's not like, I miss him, of course, but I don't need him to live. I can still be alive and have my own life, and it's painful, but I will get over it. So, and she had accepted going to this memorial for Swamp Thing in Gotham City. So that's what's going on. She's kind of feeling some pain as, we start off kind of in space, like a space view of the world, of the Earth, and then we zoom into Gotham, which is kind of a hint of what's to come at the end of the issue. But she's just kind of saying like how much she hates all these fucking people at this memorial. She's standing there in this park where they're unveiling a Swamp Thing statue to be like, he was a great guy, but we killed him, and also that we treated him like shit and his wife like shit until we killed him. So kind of a weird thing, but basically it is explained later on that all the people that loved Swamp Thing's botanical garden, Gotham, they put up the money for the statue, and they wanted it so much they're like, fine, since we killed him, since somehow he died, and we don't know who did it, we'll put this up. So, but this issue is called Earth to Earth, and is written by Alan Moore, and the art is by Rick Veitch and Alcala and Total Ben. And so we see at this funeral as they unveil, or the memorial, I guess, as they unveil the Swamp Thing statue, there's Commissioner Gordon, and then Batman is there, and then Liz Tremaine, and of course Abby is there, and then Bullock, and some kind of random people. And she is just side-eyeing everybody. She's just like, she's in her head, and she's like, these fucking people, like, oh, you're sorry now that he's dead, huh? You're sorry now he's dead? He was such a great person, but, when he was alive, you guys fucking treated him like shit. You didn't remember, like, he's saved the world. He's met the Justice League before when Woodrue broke out of Arkham and stuff. Or actually when Woodrue became Woodrue, and then, went crazy and killed a bunch of people in towns around Louisiana. And, Swamp Thing stopped him, and then the Justice League was like, thanks, chum. And then none of them are here except Batman. Of course, Batman was the one who kind of fought him a couple issues ago, so she's bad at Batman. And then, like I said, we see Bullock, and then there's this other guy, Chester's there, and then there's another guy later on that shows up which is interesting. But we do see her remembering Swamp Thing, being there in the swamp with her. And I guess this is actually a specific day that this happened because they don't show this previously until this one issue where, she's going through all this stuff about him being dead. But this is all like in her head. She's got a lot of inner monologue in this one, but she's kind of flashing back to a day where she had a hard day at work and she was meeting Swamp Thing in the swamp. And she found him, and she just starts talking to him. She's like, "Oh, I saw your footprints. How are you doing? Oh, I was so busy today at work." And, kind of like not letting him get a word in edgewise, but he's not moving or saying anything. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't even ask you anything. Like, am I making too much noise?" And then he doesn't say anything. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's so loud out there, Like, she basically just would cut him off every time he would say something. Except he wasn't even trying to say anything. And then she's like, "What? Oh, look at me. I'm sulking. I haven't even said hello or given you a hug. Let me fix that." And as she hugs this body, it turns out it was just a husk that, like, Swamp Thing had left a long time ago. So she thought she was talking to real Swamp Thing. Anyway, it was like a dead husk. And then she, like, kind of falls through it because it was rotting or just, like, dried up. And she's like, "What the hell?" And then she thought he was dead. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Abby. That was one of my husks that I left around on accident. I didn't mean to startle you," kind of thing. And so she's like, "I thought I killed you." So she's remembering that because, now, of course, she's at his funeral. And then she's like, "I need you to promise me something, that you'll always be here. You'll never die." And he's like, "I will." Like, "Promise me you'll never die. I promise." And so, he promises that. I don't know. I guess he thinks he can't die at that moment. But then we cut back to the funeral. And the way they cut back to the funeral is always her feet. Her feet are either in swamp dirt, like barefoot, or they're in these dress shoes in Gotham getting rained on. So then they're like, Commissioner Gordon says his little eulogy. And then we see Constantine and Phantom Stranger are there in the background, but they're not close enough for Abby to see because Constantine's like, "I don't think she'll want to say hi to me. Just a hunch, but I figure I'd pay my respects at least, And then, she looks at Batman. Batman starts giving like a eulogy as well, kind of saying like, we were antagonists at the end, but you know what? I always liked Swamp Thing. I met him 3 times. He seemed like a great guy, and I'm sorry that this happened to you. And he's like looking at her, and she's kind of like, "Man, fuck you." But yeah, like she's just kind of going through all this weird shit in her head as she's like reliving. At first, it was like she's living in like this fake world in her head where everything's great, and Matt Cable saying, "You know what? Why don't you? I'm gonna give you divorce papers. Don't worry about it. I love you. It's none of my business that you love Swamp Thing." And the whole town's like, "Yeah, we accept you. We accept you. You're married." And then they go to the courthouse to get married, which, if you remember, that's where he ended up dying. Then she turns around. She's like, "What's wrong?" And then all of a sudden, napalm drops on him again. So she's like reliving it. She almost breaks down there. And then some random guy comes up. This is the random guy I was saying who was there. He comes up and he's like, "Miss Cable." And it's someone you don't know. But then he says, "You don't know me, but my name is Boston Brand." So this is actually Dead Man inside of this weird looking fellow. When I say weird, he just looks like a geek or something, like a 40-year-old nerd with glasses. And she's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he because he goes he's like, "You don't know me, I'm Boston Brand." He doesn't say I'm Dead Man inside of this guy. He just says, "I looked all over for your husband, and he ain't in the netherworlds." Now, if you remember, like when Swamp Thing was fighting the Brujeria earlier in this arc, or actually it was when he went to go fight the Blackness, he went through like all these dimensions. And one of them was like Dead Man's dimension. And Dead Man is kind of, that dimension is where everybody who dies goes. So he would have seen Swamp Thing. He says, "I don't think he's dead." Like he, for what it's worth, I didn't see him up there. Like he never said hi. He never stopped anywhere. I never saw anyone. So, just be aware that he might not be dead. And then she's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Because she just thinks it's some random dude. She doesn't know. And he's not saying like, I'm dead, man. I worked with your husband. So as she slaps him, and then he's like dead man leaves him as dead man does. And he's like, what the fuck? My name's Delmar, not Brand. Why are you hitting me? And so that guy gets kicked out for like assault. And then like Batman's finishing up his eulogy, and he's basically like, hey, you know, Miss Cable, you knew him better than anyone. You were lovers. You know, I'm sorry and everything, but if you would like to speak, even if you just want to condemn us and tell us you fucking hate us, like, please come up here and say something if you wish. And so she walks up and she has a single rose and she places it at the base and she says, no, I'm sorry, there's nothing I want to say out loud. She's all sad. And then we kind of zoom out again as she kind of thinks about like, Alec, where did you go, Alec? You know, and we're zooming out from Earth again. Keep zooming, you know. And she's like, you know, it's weird. Time is a great healer. Life goes on. The world keeps turning. And we keep zooming out where we see Earth and then past Earth. And then we're in space, like deep space. And then we're in like other galaxies. And then we zoom into a planet in a different galaxy. And all of a sudden, we see a little sprout come up on this moon or this planet. And we see and we see like a rib cage kind of forming and an eye. So looks like Swamp Thing ain't dead, because in the next page, the last page of the comic, where there is a swamp body formed out of some kind of weird space, I guess space plants, whatever plants are on this Earth or this world. It is not an Earth plants. It looks like weird kind of algae or something, and like they kind of look like underwater plants or something. So but yeah, so Swamp Thing ain't dead, and the next issue is called My Blue Heaven. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email me at planestrains.comicbooks, all one word, at gmail.com. And just so you guys know, we recently started a coffee, ko-fi/planestrains&comicbooks, all one word. And if you would like to donate or just follow us on there, because we will be posting all of our content as far as like links to stuff on that, YouTube and podcast stuff. So just letting you guys know that if you'd like to, you can follow us on there or donate or whatever you'd like to do. And remember, until next time, stay swampy.